Hello friends, welcome to this session on power swing and distance protection. Basically, in this session we are starting with the ancillary functions in distance protections. Starting from this session and in next 2 or 3 sessions we will discuss about some of the ancillary functions like SOTF, STUB, power swing, auto reclosure, DEF and weak and infed. In this particular session, we will discuss about some of the very important concepts in the power swing detection which are being used by most of the numerical IED manufacturer. In this particular session, we are not going to discuss about the mathematical concepts or mathematical derivations used for this power swing calculations or this most precisely the swing equations, swing curves or equal area criteria for power system stability. We are not going to discuss any of these things, but we will discuss how the power swing blocking are implemented inside the modern numerical relays. This session is prepared from the paper Power Swing and Out of State Consideration on Transmission Line. This paper was published by IEEE PSRC Working Group D6 and this is an open source material available on Google. Basically, this paper was published way back in 2003-04 when multiple grid failures were observed across US and Canada. And after that, this power swing blocking came into limelight. And this paper was published in which the various detection methods of power swing were discussed in greater details. So now we will start with what is power swing blocking and then the different methods of blocking. So first of all, what is power swing blocking? A power swing can be started by sudden load change due to fault somewhere in the network. So anywhere in the network, if there is a fault, then a power swing will start. Basically, what is power swing is, you know that in a stable system, the active power generated and consumed must always be equal, must always be balanced. So now whenever there is a fault, your active power suddenly reduces, but the generated active power will not reduce immediately. So now the generator will swing and it will come back to the it will swing and settles at new equilibrium points. In that case, it is called a stable swing, or it might happen that if the disturbance is such a large magnitude, then it might not settle at new point, and in that case, it is called unstable power swing. Now, close to the center of power swing, there is low voltage, and this low voltage will leads to lower value of impedance, because impedance is basically the ratio of voltage and current. So if the voltage reduces, then your voltage by current ratio, that is impedance, will reduce. So when impedance reduces, it might happen that the impedance might enter inside the zone boundaries and relay will operate inadvertently. So distance protection relay must then be blocked during the power swing. And when power swing detection operates, any impedance zone can be selected to be blocked or not as required. Basically, this decision about which zone is to be blocked or which zone is not required to be blocked is a policy decision, and it is generally taken by the grid operator as well as the utilities on the basis of mutual agreement. Now, while the power swing protection philosophy is simple, it is often difficult to implement it in a large power system because of the complexity of the system and the different operating conditions that must be studied. And basically what it means is that you know that nowadays the grids are very complex and all the grids are interconnected. So whenever there is a disturbance at any part of the grid, all the other parts of the grid will get affected. Generally, your generating stations are located at one end and the load centers at some other locations, and in case of large disturbances, the generators might swing from one location, one operating point to another operating point, and this how much this will rotate or how much this swing will happen and on which equilibrium point it might settle, this is completely done through the power system stability and through this one concept which is called equal area criteria, that is the area of acceleration must be equal to the area of deceleration for your system to be stable at new equilibrium point. So there are a number of options one can select in implementing power swing protection in their system. Generally, two things are being judged being done? First of all, in some of the utilities, they are using that block all zones. Some other utilities are using block all zone except zone 1. Some utilities are using the concept that block all zones and trip with out of state function. And basically, out of state function, what is being done is that a specified portion of the network, a specified portion of your grid is isolated using the out of state protection functions, and then the remaining portion of the grid operates in the islanding modes. So this I have already explained in the initial in the beginning of the slide itself what is the stable and unstable power swing. Basically, if you see here, this is an offset mode characteristics. Zone 1, zone 2, zone 3 is shown over here. In the beginning or during the stable conditions or during the no disturbance situations, your impedance locus will be somewhere at these points, and this is the impedance due to the load. Now, wherever there is a fault, your voltage will drop and current will increase, leading to this impedance locus to shift towards these zones. And now, depending upon in which zone this impedance reaches, your particular zone will operate after the time settings of that zone. This we have already studied during our lecture 1 and lecture 2, how these zones are set, how the reach of the zone 1, zone 2, zone 3 are decided, what is the time of operation of zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, that we have already studied. Now, in case of power swing, the power swing, as I have already explained, can be of two types. One is the stable swing and another is the unstable swing. And in case of a stable swing, the rotor will swing and then it will reach to a new equilibrium point and it will settle at that point. So when it is swinging from one point to another point, in that case your impedance is reducing, and then again the rotor will swing back to settle to settle at new equilibrium position. So it will swing back, and in that case your impedance will again starts increasing. So if you see here, first the impedance were reducing and coming inside the zone, and then it comes out of the zone and it will settle at some other location. In case of unstable swing, your impedance will keep on reducing, and then it will go outside the zones. So in both cases, whether it is a stable swing or unstable swing, you can see over here that the impedance or the apparent impedance measured by the relay will reach inside the zone, and there is a fair chances that the distance protection might operate inadvertently. So this is exactly the same thing which is written over there. Power swing is considered stable if the system reaches a new state of equilibrium, that is an acceptable operating condition. And power swing can cause undesired relay operation, because in case of power swing, the impedance reaches inside the zones, whether it is zone 3, zone 2 or zone 1, that doesn't matter, because once it reaches inside the zone, there is a chance that the relay might operate. Second thing, in case of unstable swing, unstable power swing results in generator or group of generator loss of synchronism, for which some corrective action must be taken, which I have already explained in the last slide, and out of state protection is used. Unstable power swing results loss of system integrity, and out of step tripping at a predetermined network locations only is used. Remaining system then will run in an island mode. So this is what is defined in the IEEE. Power swing blocking is the device number 68 and out of step is 78. So what is the basic purpose of power swing blocking? The power swing blocking is used to avoid tripping of any power system element during power swings. We cannot afford to have a tripping during power swing. We always give a sufficient time duration or sufficient settings, so that in case there is a power swing, or in case the relay detects the power swing, it must block its zones of protection, that is the distance zones of protection. Protect the power system during unstable power swing or OOS condition, which is out of step condition. Power swing function is designed to detect power swings which differentiate between power swing from faults and block the distance relay from tripping during power swing. This I have already explained. And out of step tripping, this also I have already explained. In this case, the unstable generators or large power system area from each other with the formation of system islands are isolated in order to maintain stability within each island by balancing the generation resources with the area load. So this I have already explained in the first slide itself, that the active power generated must be equal to the active power consumed. So this, in the islanded mode, the system is made stable by balancing the generation resource with the area load. That means at strategic locations only you have to trip the generators. or out of the generators which are out of sync. So out of step function, out of OST, that is out of step tripping function, it is designed to detect out of steps. So now this is the main area of focus that we are trying to study, or that we will try to understand in this session. And this is the techniques of power swing blocking and out of step trippings. Basically, all these techniques or all these power swing detection methods, power swing blocking methods are discussed in greater details in this paper, which I have already explained that in the earlier that power swing and out of step consideration on transmission lines IEEE PSRC working group D6. In this paper, it is explained in very detail. All the mathematical derivations and all the mathematical concepts are given over there. So we will study some of the most important concepts which are presently employed by many numerical IEDs, and these methods are: firstly, the rate of change of impedance approach. Inside this rate of change of impedance approach, there are three different methods, which is concentric characteristic approach, blinders, and continuous impedance calculation. And the second thing is the other methods, in which there are three different methods which are presently in use. This is continuous incremental current calculation, R dot approach, and rate of change of swing center voltage. In this session, we will discuss about the rate of change of impedance approaches, that is the concentric characteristics, blinder, continuous impedance calculation, as well as we will discuss about the continuous incremental current calculation, which is being used by some of the modern numerical relays like P444 of GE relay. So, what is the concept behind rate of change of apparent impedance? So, you know that this is the same slide, or this is the same drawing which I have already shown over here. So now, if you see here, this is the impedance during the load conditions. Now, whenever there is a fault or there is a power swing, in both cases, the impedance will keep on changing, or it during this change of impedance, it might reach inside the zone depending upon whether the fault is or whether the power swing is. Now, in case of fault, this impedance from the Z load to the impedance area, it will come very fastly, or in case of power swing, it will be a slow process. So if you calculate dz apparent by dt, that is rate of change of impedance with respect to time, then in case of power swing, that dz by dt, or the rate of change of apparent impedance with respect to time, will be slow. However, in case of fault, this dz by dt will be very fast. So by using this concept of rate of change of impedance with respect to time, three different methods are employed inside the modern numerical relays, and now we will discuss one by one each of these concepts. First thing is concentric characteristic. Now, if you see here, what is the concentric characteristic? Basically, in the concentric characteristic, what is done is that you select a characteristic of a particular zone. Suppose this is zone 3 and you want to block this zone 3 in case of power swing, then what is being done is that a concentric characteristic is drawn, which is exactly the same as that of zone 3 or zone 2 or zone 1, whatever is our area of interest. A concentric characteristic is drawn. This is in case of polygon, in case of more characteristic, in case of quadrilateral characteristic. In every characteristic, the concept is same. Suppose this is the zone which you have you want to block, then a concentric characteristic is drawn, and now when there is a change in impedance from suppose one point to another point, then this change of impedance or rate of change of impedance is calculated. How it is calculated? First of all, when this impedance change starts, first of all it will hit the outer boundary, then it will cross the inner boundary. So this time taken by the impedance locus to cross from the outer zone to the inner zone is noted down, and if this time is greater than the set time, suppose the time taken for the impedance locus to cross the outer zone and inner zone, or to cross from the outer zone to the inner zone, the time taken is 10 milliseconds and our setting is 5 milliseconds, for example, then it will detect it as a power swing and relay will block the distance protection zones. However, if this rate of change of impedance is fast, in that case, what will happen? If the rate of change of impedance is fast, that means the time taken for your impedance locus to cross these 2 points, that is outer zone and inner zone boundary, will be very low, and in that case it might be less than the setting time, and relay will detect it as a fault and it will not block your distance protection zones. So in practice, this seems a very simple concept, because what you are doing is simply calculating the time which is required for an impedance locus to cross the outer zone and inner zone, and that time, if it is greater than the setting time, then it will detect or it will uh, issue a power swing blocking command, and all distance zones will be blocked. However, if you see here, this is a very difficult situation because first of all, in this case, the major limitations are that what should be this impedance between the inner zone and the outer zone, or at what impedance you have to draw this concentric characteristic in case of this polygon, quadrilateral or more. This outer characteristic zone or outer zones which we have to draw for the simply the impedance difference between the inner zone and outer zone, this depends upon the thorough study of networks or complete power system network study, power system stability study, and only that you can be sure about what should be this impedance or the concentric impedance. Secondly, what should be this time that must be set. Suppose you want to set this time as 1 second or 5 millisecond or 10 millisecond. What should be the criteria? This is again a very difficult challenge. But the major challenge in case of concentric characteristic is that if you see here, this is our inner characteristic. Suppose this inner characteristic is your zone 3, and you want to block your power swing for the zone 3. In case of zone 1 and zone 2, it is very easy because if it is zone 2, concentric characteristic can be drawn for zone 2, similarly for zone 1 also. But the largest zone, if you can remember from the first session, the largest zone is the zone 3. So your zone 3 is the largest zone, and now you want to draw an outer characteristic which is concentric to zone 3, and so this might happen that your outer characteristic resistive reach might reach inside your load encroachment area, and we will discuss about load encroachment in some separate session. But basically what happens that if your characteristic reaches inside your load encroachment area, then there is a chances of maloperations in case of power swing blockings. Similarly, in case of more characteristics or in case of quadrilateral characteristics. So the major limitations of concentric characteristic is that first of all, this what impedance should be kept for outer zone, what the time settings should be for this impedance locus to cross from the outer zone and the inner zone, and third most important that your outer zone might reach inside the load encroachment area, and this limits the uses of concentric characteristics. Nowadays concentric characteristics are not that much in use, but still some of the numerical relays or static relays, they are using these concentric characteristics. The next concept which comes is your blinder scheme. Now in case of blinder, basically it is again also the same thing. You have to set two boundaries, and the time elapsed to cross that outer boundary and the inner boundary is noted down, and if that time is more than the setting time, then the relay will identify it as a power swing case and it will block the distance protection zone. If that time is very less, then it will detect it as a fault and it will not block. But the major thing which is important here is that if you see here, these blinders are drawn parallel to your impedance of the transmission line. Suppose this is the transmission line, any transmission line AB, which impedance is on over here. So you draw these blinders parallel to this impedance lines, and now these blinders can be drawn anywhere which might be inside the zone, or suppose this is zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, whichever zone. So blinder can be drawn anywhere inside these zones, and if it is drawn like that, so in that case we can say that these blinders doesn't reach inside your load encroachment area. But there is a limitation. We cannot draw the blinders always inside the zones, because if you are drawing inside the zones, then in some cases it is possible that your power swing, first of all, when it is swinging, your impedance locus, suppose now it settles at some this point. So in this case, it is before entering inside your outer blinders and inner blinders, it settles inside the zone 3 and it might issue an inward tripping. So these blinders are generally set in such a way that your outer blinders is set uh, on the basis of maximum resistive loads or maximum load encroachment area with some safety margin. So suppose your this point is your maximum resistive load area. So the outer blinders might be set with some safety margin at suppose this point, and inner blinder is set at the outside of the largest overreaching zone, that means the zone 3. So the outer and inner blinders are set such that the inner blinders will be just outside your zone 3 and the outer blinders will be just inside the load encroachment area. And now the impedance locus, when it traverses from this outer blinder to the inner blinder, the time is noted down, and if that time is more than the time setting, the relay will detect it as power swing and it will block all the impedance protection zones. However, if that time is less than the set time, then your relay will detect it as a fault and it will not issue a tripping command. The advantage is that in this case, your blinders doesn't reach inside, or the blinders resistive reach doesn't coincides with the load encroachment area. But still the limitations are again the same. In case of blinders also, you have to have a thorough study of your power system network, a complete understanding of the different conditions, complete understanding of the different stability or transient conditions. Then only you can decide what is the blinder schemes, what impedance are to be set for these blinder schemes, how much time is needed to be set for this impedance locus to cross from the outer blinder to the inner blinders. Now, the third method, which is a very simple method, which is used, is called continuous impedance monitoring. In case of continuous impedance monitoring, now if you see this, we have already discussed and we already know till this point that in case of fault or power swing, be it stable power swing or unstable power swing, your impedance locus will keep on changing. And now in case of continuous impedance monitoring, there are three concepts which are used. First of all, the impedance is continuously monitored, and in these conditions, the first test which is performed is called monotony test. What is the meaning of monotony test? Is that the relay internal algorithm which will keep on calculating the delta x and delta r. What is the meaning of delta x and delta r? Is that delta x is basically the difference of x2 and x1. That means the reactance at the second sample minus reactance at the first sample. Similarly, it will calculate delta r, that means delta r2, r3, r4 or r1. Similarly, delta x1, x2, x3 and x4. If this delta r and delta x are moving in the same directions, then it is called the monotony test is passed or monotony test is successful. If your delta r and delta x, when both are in the decreasing direction or both are in the increasing direction, then it is called the monotony test is successful. Second is continuity test. For the continuity test, basically in this test, the relay internal algorithm will calculate the magnitude of delta r and delta x, and then it will compare this value with some threshold value, and if delta r and delta x value is above that threshold, then it will say that it is continuous. But if your delta r and delta x is less than that threshold, suppose delta r and delta x is 0, that means now the continuity test fails. Third thing is smoothness test. Smoothness test means your delta r and delta x must be changing in the same ratio. Suppose delta x1 is 1, delta x2 is 2, delta x3 is 4, delta x5 is 8. That means whenever you calculate delta x1 by x2, this ratio will remain the fixed, or this ratio will move but in some smaller fractions. Similarly, delta r1 by r2, it will also be fixed. But when there is a fault, then it might happen that delta x1 is suppose 1, but delta x2 is suddenly 10 or 20. So in that case, your delta x1 by delta x2 suddenly moves a lower value to a higher value, and in that case the relay will detect it as a power swing condition. So any of these three tests, if fails, that is either monotony or continuity or smoothness test, if any of these tests fails, then the relay internal algorithm will detect it as a power swing condition, and it will immediately block the impedance protections. The very simple method which is presently being used by some of the numerical IED manufacturer is the continuous calculation of incremental current, which is also called delta current method. And in these conditions, or in this method, basically what is done is that the current magnitude of the next sample with the present sample is continuously calculated. That means the current magnitude at sample n is compared with the current magnitude at sample n plus 1. Similarly, the current magnitude at n plus 1 is compared with the current magnitude at sample n plus 2, and this difference is noted. Now, in case of power swing, what will happen is that your current will keep on increasing slowly, slowly, slowly. So, if you calculate the difference between delta I of sample n with n plus 1 or sample n plus 1 with n plus 2, the difference will always be very low. But in case of power swing, it might happen that this current will suddenly rises from this point to this point, and in that case your delta I magnitude will not be continuous, but it will rise from a very low value to very high value, and then it will settles down to a lower magnitude later on. So this is a swing condition in which, if you see here, this is delta I, next delta I is this, next delta I is this. So whenever we calculate this delta I, delta I, delta I, this is delta I magnitude is now increasing slowly, slowly, slowly. But in case of fault, delta I magnitude suddenly increases from a low magnitude to a high magnitude, and then it settles down because now the circuit breaker has opened, or say, this is after the fault clearance. But before, if you see here, this current magnitude suddenly rises from this point to this point, and if you calculate the delta I magnitude, so this delta I suddenly rises from a very low magnitude to very high magnitude, and relay will detect it as a fault. So now in this session we have already discussed about four of the concepts, that is the continuous impedance calculation, blinder scheme, concentric characteristics, and delta I method. The two different methods, which is R dot and swing center voltage, these are very relatively new concepts, although not new because swing center voltage is in operation since 1980s, I think. So in the swing center voltage, the advantage is that if you see its name itself say that it is the, in this method the relay simply calculates the voltage at the center of the swings and compares this voltage with some set parameters, and if that parameters is satisfied, then it will detect it as a power swing condition, and it will block your distance protection. If those parameters are not satisfied or those parameters violates, then it will detect it as a fault condition. So basically, in case of swing center voltage, what is the major advantage is that you doesn't have to have a thorough study of your power system network. You doesn't need to have a complete understanding of power system load conditions or load criteria, transient stability, steady state stability. We doesn't need all of these things. Simply the relay needs the voltages at the swing centers, and depending upon that voltage, it will detect whether it is a power swing condition or a fault condition, and if it is a fault condition, then it will issue a trip command. If it is not a fault condition, if it is a swing condition, then it will block your distance protection zones. Basically, the swing center and R dot approach is a purely mathematical concept, and if you want to have a greater insight on these topics, just refer this paper which I have already explained, Power Swing and Out of Step Consideration on Transmission Line by IEEE PSRC Working Group D6, or you may refer to a paper which is published by SEL in 2012-13 on the same topic, Power Swing and Out of Step Consideration, and depending upon your requirement, you can have a greater insight on this topic. Basically, this power swing in the modern numerical relay, only settings available in, if you see the Siemens relay, then the only settings available is that whether you want to have all zone blocked or zone 1 and higher blocked. So only settings is that, but you must understand the logic behind these concepts, how this power swing detection comes inside the picture. When you see the modern REL 670 relay of ABB or P444 relay, in those relays, these settings are given in greater details of the power swing. They are the blinder settings or the load encroachment or your concentric characteristic settings. You can very well understand by seeing those settings. So for understanding purpose, for implementation of these settings inside the numerical relay, it is always better to have a good conceptual clarity of these concepts. That's why we have discussed or uh, about these power swing detection methods in this session. We will discuss about some of the other ancillary functions in next one or two sessions. So keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.